There is a vital force within you, a primordial creative energy that, when conserved and directed correctly, awakens levels of consciousness that few experience in a lifetime. This energy is not merely symbolic or metaphorical. It is literal, biological, and quantifiable. It is the same force that creates human life, but it can be redirected to create a profound spiritual transformation within you. Ancient spiritual masters of all traditions knew this secret. Taoists called it Jing, yogis called it Ojas, and Christian mystics recognized it as the force of inner purity. But why do so few know about this power today? Why has information about this vital energy been systematically removed from modern spiritual teachings? The answer is simple and disturbing, because a human being who learns to conserve and transmute this energy becomes impossible to control. When you constantly waste your vital creative energy, you remain in a state of diminished consciousness. Your perception becomes limited to the ego, your concerns remain material, and you become easily manipulated by external forces. This is exactly where certain powers want you to remain. Think about it. We live in a society where we are constantly bombarded with sexual stimuli, advertisements, movies, music, social media. Hypersexualization is not accidental. It's a meticulously designed system to ensure you release this vital energy regularly, keeping you in a state of reduced consciousness. Every time you release this energy aimlessly, you are literally draining the fuel necessary for your spiritual evolution. It's like trying to drive a car while someone is constantly puncturing the fuel tank. No matter how much you refuel, you will never have enough to reach your destination. But what happens when you interrupt this cycle? What occurs when you begin to conserve this vital energy for extended periods? A remarkable transformation begins to take place. In the first few days, you will face intense resistance. Your body and mind, conditioned to release regularly, will protest. Intrusive thoughts will arise. Justifications will appear. It's natural. It's healthy. Everyone does it. These are not your true convictions. They are programs installed to maintain the draining cycle. Around the seventh day of conservation, something changes. The energy that was previously wasted begins to circulate through your system. You notice an unusual mental clarity. Your voice gains depth. Your presence becomes more magnetic. People around you begin to react differently to you, often without understanding why. Between 14 and 21 days, the transformation intensifies. Synchronicities increase in your life. Opportunities appear as if the universe were conspiring in your favor. Your intuition sharpens. You begin to perceive subtle realities that previously went unnoticed, and after 30 days of consistent preservation, something profound happens. What the ancients called the awakening of higher consciousness begins to manifest. You're not just thinking differently, you're perceiving reality from a completely new perspective. It's as if a veil has been lifted. This is not an empty promise or an abstract spiritual theory. It is a bioenergetic process documented by spiritual traditions over thousands of years. What has changed is not the truth of this knowledge, but access to it. Let's understand how this process works at the energy level. Your body constantly produces creative vital energy. When conserved, this energy does not remain static. It is naturally transmuted and refined by your system. Just as water can exist as ice, liquid, or vapor, your vital energy can also change form and frequency. When regularly wasted, this energy remains in its densest and most material state. When conserved, it begins to refine itself, rising through your energy system, what Eastern traditions call chakras or meridians. This refined energy nourishes your nervous system in ways that modern science is only beginning to understand. Recent studies on neuroplasticity show that our brain is far more adaptable than previously thought. New neural connections can be formed rapidly when the right conditions are present. The conservation of vital energy creates precisely these ideal conditions. But there is a significant obstacle that few openly discuss. We live in a society designed to constantly drain this energy. It's no coincidence that we have unlimited access to hypersexualized content anytime, anywhere. The algorithms of digital platforms are specifically designed to escalate stimulation, keeping you in a dopamine loop, that inevitably leads to the release of this vital energy. Every time you succumb to this cycle, your brain experiences a dopamine spike, followed by an abrupt drop. During this drop, you become more susceptible to external influences, more prone to seeking immediate gratification, less able to resist consumerist impulses, less likely to question the power structures around you. It is a brilliantly designed system to keep billions of people in a state of diminished consciousness, while creating the illusion of freedom and personal choice. Consider how the cultural narrative treats the conservation of this energy. It is ridiculed, pathologized, or simply ignored. Scientific studies regularly appear promoting the health benefits of frequently releasing this energy. Meanwhile, ancient traditions that taught its conservation are marginalized as superstitious or outdated. This is no coincidence. It's a deliberate strategy to keep you disconnected from your highest potential. Now, let's be clear. I'm not talking about permanent celibacy or denial of sexuality. I'm talking about a conscious practice of energy conservation and transmutation for specific periods, with the purpose of awakening higher levels of consciousness. Sexuality is a sacred and powerful force. The problem is not sexuality itself, but how we have been conditioned to waste this energy without purpose, direction, or awareness. When you conserve this energy intentionally, something remarkable happens. Instead of being released outwards, it begins to circulate internally. The ancient Taoists called this the microcosmic orbit, an energy circuit that runs through the spine and the front of the body. As this energy circulates and refines itself, it nourishes your nervous system, endocrine glands, and vital organs. Your physical health improves, your stamina increases, your vitality expands. But the most profound benefits are those that occur in your consciousness. Here is a specific technique for transmuting this energy when you feel the urge to release it. First, acknowledge the impulse without judgment. Don't suppress it or fight against it. Simply observe it consciously. Second, sit with your spine straight or lie down comfortably. Breathe deeply through your nose, filling your lungs completely. Third, visualize this energy concentrated in your pelvic area as a bright light. With each breath, imagine this light rising up your spine. Fourth, as the energy rises, feel it nourishing each energy center along the way, from the sacral to the solar plexus, to the heart, to the throat, and finally to the center of your forehead and crown. Fifth, keep this energy circulating with your breath for a few minutes, allowing it to spread throughout your system. This simple technique, when practiced regularly, transforms what could be a moment of energy loss into an opportunity for spiritual growth. But make no mistake, when you embark on this path, you will face resistance, not only from your own conditioned patterns, but from the very system designed to drain your energy. You'll notice that temptations increase. More stimulating content will coincidentally appear in your feeds. Triggers will emerge at moments of vulnerability. This isn't paranoia, it's how the system works. Algorithms detect changes in your behavior patterns and intensify stimuli to bring you back into the cycle of consumption and release. That's why the first 7 days are the most challenging. Your body and mind, along with the digital environment around you, conspire to maintain the established pattern. But if you persevere through this initial period, something remarkable happens. The energy that was previously directed outward begins to circulate inward, and a new clarity emerges. Between the 7th and 14th, you will begin to notice subtle but significant changes. Your voice may become deeper and more resonant. Your posture naturally improves. You feel more present in your interactions. People around you may comment that there is something different about you, even without knowing exactly what has changed. From the 14th to the 21st, the transformation deepens. You begin to experience insights that seem to come from a source beyond your usual thinking. Creative solutions to old problems arise spontaneously. You become more resilient to stress and less reactive to provocation. And then, around day 30, something profound happens. What ancient texts describe as awakening of higher consciousness begins to manifest. It's not just a change in thinking, it's a transformation in the very way you perceive reality. Colors seem more vibrant, Music resonates more deeply. Your interactions with others become more authentic and meaningful. You begin to notice patterns and connections that were previously hidden from your perception. This is not a temporary altered state. It is a permanent awakening of aspects of your consciousness that have always been present, but dormant due to the constant draining of vital energy. What's most remarkable is how your relationship with time changes. Instead of being swept away by the constant flow of stimuli and reactions, you develop the ability to remain centered in the present moment. The past loses its power to generate regret. The future no longer provokes anxiety. You inhabit the now more fully. This expanded presence transforms all areas of your life. Your relationships become deeper and more authentic. Your work gains purpose and clarity. Your physical health reflects the inner harmony you are cultivating. But perhaps the most significant change is in your relationship with power. When you are not constantly draining your vital energy, you become much less susceptible to external manipulation. Propaganda loses its hypnotic effect. Fear tactics can no longer control your decisions. You begin to see through the illusions that once shaped your reality. This is precisely why this knowledge has been systematically suppressed. A human being who learns to conserve and direct their own vital energy becomes spiritually sovereign. They can no longer be controlled through fear, greed, or unregulated desire. Consider the great spiritual and revolutionary leaders throughout history. Many practice some form of energy conservation, not as an exercise in denial, but as a conscious practice of cultivating inner power. This power then manifested as a magnetic presence that inspired multitudes and challenged oppressive systems. Now let's address some common objections to this practice. It's not healthy to retain that energy. This statement contradicts thousands of years of documented spiritual wisdom. Traditions that taught energy conservation produced some of the longest-lived and most vital human beings in history. The key lies in transmutation, not mere retention. Conserved energy should circulate and refine itself, not stagnate. It's unnatural not to release regularly. What is truly unnatural is the level of constant stimulation to which we are subjected in modern society. In natural environments, without unlimited access to hypersexualized content, release cycles would be much less frequent. We are conditioned to confuse culturally imposed habits with biological needs. This only works for men. Although the physical manifestations are different, the energetic principle applies to all human beings. All people produce creative life energy that can be conserved and transmuted to awaken higher levels of consciousness. This is just a form of religious control. In fact, it's the opposite. This practice aims to liberate you from external control by cultivating your energetic sovereignty. It doesn't require adherence to any religious dogma. It's a spiritual technology that transcends specific traditions and can be verified through direct experience. Now let's talk about how to integrate this practice into your daily life. First, establish a clear intention. Don't practice conservation out of guilt or shame. Do it with the conscious purpose of awakening higher levels of consciousness and vitality. Second, create an environment that supports your practice. Limit your exposure to stimulating content. Be aware of algorithms designed to trigger your impulses. Consider using content blockers when necessary. Third, develop a daily practice of energy transmutation. This can include meditation, mindful breathing, yoga, qigong, or any discipline that helps circulate and refine energy in your system. Fourth, channel the extra energy into creative projects, physical exercise, service to others, or learning new skills. Conserved energy needs constructive expression. Fifth, keep a journal of your experiences. Document the changes you observe in your energy, mental clarity, relationships, and overall perception. This record will be invaluable for maintaining your motivation and understanding your unique process. Remember that this is not a linear journey. There will be challenges and setbacks. The important thing is to maintain your intention and return to practice when you stray. As you progress along this path, you will begin to realize that energy conservation is merely the gateway to a much vaster spiritual realm. As your higher consciousness awakens, you gain access to abilities that previously seemed impossible or reserved only for spiritual masters. Your intuition becomes so refined that it seems like clairvoyance. Your ability to manifest intentions accelerates dramatically. Your understanding of the spiritual laws that govern reality deepens through direct experience, not just through intellectual study. More importantly, you begin to recognize your true nature beyond the limitations of the ego. You directly experience that you are much more than your physical body, thoughts, or emotions. You are pure consciousness, temporarily located in human form, but fundamentally connected to the source of all existence. This realization is not merely intellectual, it is visceral and transformative. It fundamentally changes how you navigate life. Fear loses its power over you. Death no longer seems so threatening. The everyday dramas that once consumed your energy are seen for what they truly are: temporary ripples on the surface of a much deeper and vaster consciousness. And perhaps most significantly, you begin to see through the illusions that keep humanity in a state of separation and unnecessary suffering. You recognize the control systems that were designed to keep people disconnected from their innate power and divine potential. This perspective doesn't generate anger or resentment, but compassion. You understand that these systems persist because most people remain unaware of their own divine nature. And you recognize that your role is not to fight against these systems, but simply to embody a higher frequency of consciousness that naturally inspires others to awaken. When you conserve and transmute your vital energy for 30 consecutive days, you are not just changing your habits, you are literally altering the vibrational frequency of your being. You become a transmitter of higher possibilities. Your presence silently invites others to question their self-imposed limitations. This is why the powers that control our society have worked so diligently to keep this knowledge hidden or distorted. A fully awakened and energetically sovereign human being cannot be manipulated through fear, greed, or uncontrolled desire. He becomes immune to the tactics that keep the masses in a state of diminished consciousness. Imagine what would happen if millions of people began to conserve and transmute their vital energy. If, instead of constantly wasting the fuel of their spiritual evolution, they directed it towards awakening higher consciousness. The transformation would not only be individual, but collective. That is why I am sharing this knowledge with you today, not as an abstract theory or religious belief, but as a practical spiritual technology that you can verify through your own direct experience. The invitation is simple: conserve your vital energy for 30 consecutive days. Transmute it through the practices I have shared. Observe the changes that occur in your consciousness, vitality, and perception of reality. Don't blindly believe what I'm saying. Test it for yourself. Become your own laboratory for spiritual transformation. And if you experience even a fraction of what ancient traditions promise, you will understand why this knowledge has been so zealously guarded and why it is so crucial that it be widely shared now. Humanity's awakening will not come through political revolutions or technological advancements. It will happen when a critical number of individuals reclaim their energetic sovereignty and awaken their higher consciousness. Are you ready to take the first step? 30 days. One conscious decision, one consistent practice, and a transformation that transcends everything you believed to be possible. The choice is yours. The power has always been within you, and the time to awaken is now.